Luna's back, baby. It's time to talk about Luna again. They're floating this new idea for a 4-year runway for the project, including a lot of token allocations to different projects if they pass audits in order to bring Luna back from the ashes. This, of course, is just a developer note. We don't really know if it's going to pass yet. It's an idea to issue new tokens from the Luna ecosystem into new developers, get people to start building on Luna once again. It's important because, well, Luna was a huge chain before everything blew up. There was a lot of different applications, not just Terra, the stablecoin that went belly up, but there's a whole different ecosystem out there for a lot of Luna projects. And most of those projects moved on to different chains like Solana or Ethereum. And I think a lot of those Luna developers want their friends to come back. So they're issuing new tokens in hopes of bringing back the party once again. Jen, I want to throw the story down to you, get your take on it.
Yeah, so much like the Celsius story, when I read this story, I thought, does Luna have a stain that it can't get rid of? Like, are we going to remember what happened in 4 years' time, or are people going to adopt Luna again? I think it's really interesting that they've outlined all of these developer incentives, because there's every layer one, every project, every ecosystem has a developer incentive out there, and there's going to be a lot of competition, and I don't know if now is the right time, but I could be proven wrong. I didn't think that Celsius executives were going to be hired by major banks, and here we are. So I don't really know what to make of this story. If I was a developer, I would feel, maybe I would go with a different project given the state of the ecosystem, given the state of the name and the brand. It's going to be harder to get users to trust in Luna again, but I'm not a developer. Wendy, what do you think?
I actually think that they do have a chance. From what I know, I believe that the community kind of took over. I think it was Luna Classic, and I'm seeing a lot of chatter about them on crypto Twitter. And anytime I do altcoin requests on the live stream on Sunday, I always get people, they're like, chart this, chart this, chart this. And I'm like, no, like, I think that this is bad. You shouldn't be looking at this, but people love it. So I think if they are able to do things the correct way, if they're able to allow the community to have a say, that just goes to show the power of decentralization and utilizing community power.
Yeah, there is that one part of the story that I thought was really interesting, that they've proposed that it will be run by a community elected committee and reevaluated every 12 months. And I think, that contributes again to rebuilding the trust. So a little counterpoint against my original argument.
It could come back. I mean, stranger things have happened, right? There's new layer ones that are being launched as we speak. We talked about Aptos yesterday, right? They're saying, hey, let's build another greenfield on which projects can develop their very cool buildings that people will come and use. That's what dApps really are. And they sit on top of these blockchains that have different sort of pipes that make them better or worse. So it could come back. I typically think people are pretty infatuated with the shiny new thing. I think there's a lot of shiny new thing syndrome in crypto. So that sort of works against the chances of the Terra blockchain coming back in a meaningful way. But blockchains kind of tend to always live on. There's a huge long tail of assets and chains that are less discussed but are still out there. So if it ultimately comes back in some form, more power to them. The Terra blockchain, before it imploded, was cool. They had a great wallet. They had a great functionality. There was cool, fast things that could happen on that network. There were some protocols that were interesting in terms of synthetic equities. There was all sorts of stuff on there that was cool. So if they can bring that back to some form of its former self, then that's great. But again, I think that they're facing significant headwinds, right? There's new chains. There's bigger chains that are sort of asserting their dominance. And so if they can sort of, again, chip into that market share, TBD. We'll have to see. I saw Will's hand. Tossing it to him.
Okay, I gotta bring it down, guys. There's way too much hopium for a Wednesday morning. Let's not do that. There is no chance that this chain is coming back in the next 5 years. Only if Do Kwon is given $10 billion back from whatever he took away from the community and somehow does not go to Interpol. Okay, that's the only way that this chain is ever going to come back. It is completely dead. And Zach, just like you said right there, right? Everyone wants the shiny new thing. We saw Aptos launch yesterday. No one even cared about that much, right? They didn't have a great launch. They had some problems with it. And everyone's like, okay, I don't care anymore. And that's what happens. You have one chance to show off on crypto Twitter and for your market to explode. Otherwise, you're gone. There's no 2.0. There's no second chances. There is this long tail, yes, but that long tail is for pennies. It doesn't really mean anything. I think that's the beauty of Bitcoin and Ethereum is they actually broke past that. I don't think any other chain is really going to have that moment, especially Terra Luna. I just don't see it happening. Pushing back there, but I'll throw it up to you, Wendy.
Thank you so much, Walton Chain. I won. Just kidding. One of the things that I think was really funny about like the whole Terra Luna thing is I think it was for Christmas or my birthday, my team bought me one of the domain names for that ecosystem. And unfortunately, I don't know if it's usable or not. So yay, maybe there's hope and I can use that for, I have no idea what.
WendyO.Luna. That'd be sweet.